Hello, it's Daniel. How are you? I am coming to you sitting up above the coast here a little bit. I'll turn around so you can kind of see into the water. Beautiful sunny late afternoon, coming up near sunset in about an hour probably, and the water's really quiet. So I wanted to come and talk to you today. So this video is not going to be for everybody, and you'll know pretty quickly whether or not this is going to speak to you. But I'm wanting to come to offer some support and guidance and some inspiration. If you are at a point in your life right now where you've recently made a big decision, or if you know you need to, or if there's some kind of a change in your life that you're on the brink of, you've just made, or have felt for a little while you really need to make, and just aren't making it. So if that doesn't speak to you right now, then this is probably not for you, at least not at this moment. But right now, where we're at in terms of the energies coming into the planet and astrologically is we've had a year in 2019 of life bringing up into our awareness in different ways the places in which the way we're living our life, the people, the situations we have in our life, where we're headed, the values that we're living based on how we're actually living our life. Life has been bringing up different things to ask us to take a look and say, is this what you really want going forward? Because we are now, as of like literally right now, the universe is asking us to, as my grandma used to say, shit or get off the pot about these decisions, because we are at a tipping point in so many ways, but on an astrological from an astrological perspective, we're at a tipping point or a turning over cycle where we're finishing up one cycle and beginning another that's about a 35-year cycle. So the decisions that we've made recently, the ones that we are about to make, the ones we have not yet made, are in essence setting us up for how life is going to play out for us individually and for us collectively over the next 35 years. And so if you have had something where you've finally made a decision recently, congratulations. And speaking from my own experience, there's a tremendous amount of freedom that comes from doing that, and also can be a lot of insecurity as well. So I want to talk about that a little bit. And then for those of you, I want to address first those of you who know that there's something that you need to change in your life, a decision to make, a conversation to have, somebody to clear out of your life, a work situation, etc. Something that you need to make a change, but you just can't get yourself to actually doing it. I'm going to ask you a question, and I don't mean this in any way condescendingly or negatively, but I'm going to invite you to really ask yourself, what's it going to take? But in a real way, to ask yourself that question. What is it going to take for me to do what it is that in my heart, in my gut, or maybe even screaming all over in front of me that I keep trying to avoid, but it keeps coming back and telling me that I really need to do? What is it going to take? Because in as supportive a way as I can, I want to let you know that the decision that you make, either by taking action or not taking action right now, is going to have profound effects on where life goes from here on out for this next phase. So I've been feeling this for myself, and then have kind of dived into the astrology recently, and it's what I hear people that I trust saying. There's something about this time right now that doors are closing that won't open again, and doors are opening that we can't count on are going to happen again. It's that kind of time in our individual and collective histories. So I'm going to invite you to very sincerely ask yourself, What is it going to take? For that thing that you know you need to do, and maybe you're scared to freaking death to do it. Maybe it means ending a 40-year marriage. Maybe it means ending relationships that have been important to you. Maybe it means quitting a job. Maybe something that's not even that quite big, but it's just so difficult to do for whatever reason. What is it going to take? And then consciously make a decision. I'm going to invite you to actually consciously make a decision and stop putting it off. What's it going to take? Because now is the time. There isn't time left in terms of this particular process that we're going through. And for you, whatever that is, there's no time. There just is no more time to put it off. So I'm going to invite you to ask yourself, what's it going to take? Really look at that. Look at that. What is it going to take? What do I need? Is there any more I need to know? Do I need to talk to somebody? Do I need to check something out? There's more information I need? What's it going to take? And then make a decision. Now, I was having a conversation with a dear friend of mine earlier today, and she and I have been going through similar process along this lines, just tremendous change, having to cut people out of our lives, etc., etc. And we were talking about, and she came up with this. Well, she was sharing a story about in essence, moving away from a friendship. Nothing huge, but significant. It wasn't nothing. And how she was feeling as a result of doing that, how completely different she felt. Going throughout her day, in her body, being her, etc. How very different she felt. And I shared some of my story about how I had been experiencing the same things of cutting out some relationships in my life that I didn't realize until that they were gone, how much of an effect they were having on me. In a negative way, because I was experiencing such freedom and lightness and sense of being able to just really be myself and discover myself and all of these things, just really great things as a result. And I hope that this sorry about this, you guys. I'm hoping this isn't going to be too bad with the sound. And she came up with this metaphor, which was brilliant. It was so brilliant. So this is my dear friend Jessica, and she talked about a hot air balloon, being tethered to the ground, right? You have all those ropes that are tying it down. And then I was thinking, it's like, you can blow up a hot air balloon, right? And it expands and gets big and beautiful, etc. Kind of being itself in a certain way because it's expanded. But as long as it's still tethered, there's only a certain experience of it can have. As long as it's still tethered. So you cut one rope and maybe it goes up a little bit. You cut another rope and it goes up a little bit. In one relationship, it goes up a little bit. Cut out a habit that is keeping you down or keeping you diminished, and it raises up a little bit. Ending that situation that you just know in your heart is really keeping you from being able to expand into who you really are. Until finally the last tether is cut and that balloon begins to rise. And it's not until it begins to rise that you really start to feel how tethered you were. And I was just telling Jessica, I said, it's so hard. It was hard for me to understand. It's so hard for me to explain to my clients. It's like you don't realize how good it can get. You don't. You can't see it when you're holding on to the old stuff. And this is where faith comes in. This is where trusting something more than your mind, than your worries and your fears is significantly helpful, like critical. Spirit, God, the universe, your deepest intuition, your inner knowing, the dreams you're having at night, what they're telling you, to trust them, to be willing to trust them. Because you're not going to know, in essence, how bad it was, how bad it is right now, how bad it was until you start ascending. And then you can look back and realize, oh my God, I had no idea how much that was taking out of me. And then on the other side, I had no idea how expanded I could be, how free I could be with my expression, how unencumbered I could be. So this is why I'm really encouraging, what's it gonna take? And then make a choice. Because there's higher heights waiting for you. So I'm speaking because I'm sitting right where I'm sitting because I left my marriage a couple months ago, ended a long-standing relationship, have made other changes in my life that were really effing hard to make. And I did a tremendous amount of healing work, the kind of stuff that I teach, I do on myself. And I move through the pain, I move through the suffering, the loss, the grief. You move through it. There's ways to move through it. Leave it behind, rise higher. Leave the situation, leave the emotion, leave the suffering behind, and rise higher. And you just don't know until you're there how good it can get. So, come on. There's a reason why you're feeling the way you're feeling. It's time to move into more of your life. It's time to give what it is that you came here to give to this planet. It's time. We have a tremendous decade coming up ahead of us in the 2020s. Tremendous amount of change on this planet. And it needs as many of us as we can to have the guts, to have the courage to step into who we truly are, who we really are, who we are uniquely, who you are uniquely. And the only way you can find that out is to cut the ties that bind, to cut the ties that keep you tethered to the ground, because it's time to rise. It's time to rise. And for those of you who have made the changes, and maybe are kind of in this place of, well, all kinds of stuff. So depending on the hour of the day for me, I mean, I'm doing fine, but it can go up and down. Emotional, like, oh my God, where am I? What am I doing? What have I done? Etc., etc. Where am I going? I don't know where I'm going. What's life, have in store for me, etc. That's all really normal. That's all really normal. If you don't have something greater than you to be in relationship to, I'm going to invite you to find that for yourself, whatever that is, and start communicating with it. Use what we call the imagination. It's the human capacity to connect with that which is beyond our ability to see, to feel. The imagination. Connect with it, use it, connect in with that which is higher, connect in with that which is deeper in you, with your own deepest heart. Whatever it is, converse with it, talk with it. You're not alone. You are so not alone. But it requires each of us to dare to reach out, to begin, in essence, speaking or communicating with that which we can't see or touch or necessarily hear with our ears, and begin to listen. Because there's so much help here for each and every one of us to show us the way. What else to say about this? Because for those of you, the other thing that I've been finding really interesting, you guys, is that sharing this with Jessica, is like, because I've cut major relationships in my life that they're not awful people, they just didn't serve me anymore. It wasn't It wasn't in alignment. These relationships and how I was in them, how they were with me, wasn't in alignment with who it is I need to be. So what I'm finding is I have these experiences of kind of going, who the hell am I? Like if I'm not this person in relationship with that person, if I'm not this person doing that kind of thing, or if I'm not this person who lives here or does this, who am I? In a way that's quite, like, I don't know, very tangible. This isn't philosophical. It is a philosophical question, obviously, but the way that I experience it is very much like, my God, who am I? And I think that's part of the experience, because who I am, who each of you are, as unique, embodied experiences of a spirit of God, of the universe, discovering itself here. We know bits and pieces of it, but we don't know. And we have to be willing to discover. Willing to discover what we have, who we are, what we're here to give, what our capacities are, what our abilities to be, to give, to do, when we're not associated with those things and situations that keep us small. And it's a process of it takes courage to discover, and not keep trying to pin ourselves down to this, that, or the other thing that puts us back in a box. So I would really love to hear in the comments, you guys, what your experience is around all this right now, and feel free to reach out and let me know and ask for support, and we can have a conversation about how I can support you in making these changes. It's what I do, and but now's the time. This is the point about this. Now's the time. Please, I really implore you, do not put off making those decisions and taking those actions any longer. And if you want some help and support, put a note in the comment or reach out. And I'm happy to see what I can do to support you, because each of our uniqueness is needed in order to build the world that we need to build. We need a more diverse group of skills and talents. We need skills and talents and perspectives that haven't really been able to show up because we've all been keeping ourselves in the situations we've been in have been keeping us small and locked in boxes. So I send you much love and wish for you much courage and much faith in yourself and faith in the process that you're in the middle of. So have a serious talk with yourself and love yourself enough to make a decision. Love yourself enough to make a decision. Much love to you. Okay, bye for now.